The Israel-Palestine conflict is one of the most enduring and complex struggles in modern history. Rooted in competing nationalisms, historical grievances, and territorial claims, this conflict has shaped the Middle East and challenged international diplomacy for over a century. Understanding its origins, evolution, and current dynamics is essential to grasp why peace remains elusive and why the conflict continues to influence global politics. The story begins in the late 19th and early 20th centuries, with the rise of two nationalist movements, Jewish Zionism and Arab Palestinian nationalism. Jewish Zionism emerged as a response to centuries of persecution and pogroms in Europe, with the goal of establishing a homeland in historic Palestine, a region then under Ottoman rule. At the same time, Arab Palestinians, who had lived in the land for centuries, began to develop their own national identity, seeking independence and self-determination. Following World War I and the collapse of the Ottoman Empire, Britain took control of Palestine under a League of Nations mandate. The British government issued the Balfour Declaration in 1917, expressing support for a national home for the Jewish people in Palestine. This declaration inflamed tensions between Jewish immigrants, who were increasing in number due to European persecution, and the Arab majority, who feared displacement and loss of their land. Throughout the 1920s and 1930s, violence erupted repeatedly between Jewish and Arab communities. The British struggled to maintain order while balancing their conflicting commitments to Jews and Arabs. The Holocaust during World War II intensified Jewish migration to Palestine, deepening Arab fears and hostility. In 1947, the United Nations proposed a partition plan to divide Palestine into separate Jewish and Arab states, with Jerusalem as an international city. The Jewish leadership accepted the plan, but the Arab states and Palestinian Arabs rejected it, leading to civil war. When Israel declared independence in 1948, neighboring Arab countries invaded, triggering the First Arab-Israeli War. The conflict ended with Israel controlling much of the territory, while Jordan and Egypt took control of the West Bank and Gaza Strip respectively. For Palestinians, this event became known as the Nakba, or catastrophe, marked by the displacement of hundreds of thousands of refugees. The decades that followed saw continued conflict, wars in 1956, 1967, and 1973, and a growing Palestinian national movement. The 1967 Six-Day War was a turning point. Israel captured the West Bank, Gaza, East Jerusalem, and the Golan Heights, territories that remain central to the dispute today. The occupation of these lands fueled Palestinian resistance and international condemnation. The late 20th century witnessed attempts at peace, most notably the Oslo Accords in the 1990s. These agreements created the Palestinian Authority and aimed to establish a two-state solution. However, peace talks repeatedly stalled amid violence, mutual distrust, and disputes over settlements, refugees, and the status of Jerusalem. The conflict today remains deeply entrenched. Israel continues to control much of the West Bank and has annexed East Jerusalem, while Gaza is governed by Hamas, a militant group designated as a terrorist organization by many countries. The humanitarian situation in Gaza is dire, with blockades and recurrent wars causing suffering for civilians. Efforts by international mediators have so far failed to produce a lasting resolution. The core issues, borders, security, refugees, and Jerusalem's status, are profoundly contentious. Public opinion on both sides remains polarized, and extremist factions fuel cycles of violence and retaliation. The Israel-Palestine conflict is more than a regional dispute, it is a symbol of broader struggles over identity, justice, and power. It influences global diplomacy, involving major powers like the United States, Russia, and the European Union, as well as regional actors such as Iran, Saudi Arabia, and Egypt. In the end, the century-long conflict reflects the challenge of reconciling two peoples' aspirations for self-determination in the same land. Peace will require courage, compromise, and a recognition of each side's narratives and rights, something that has proved elusive but remains essential for regional and global stability.